This video presentation is made possible by Brewster Services Group.
Attention, please. It's pretty close to 4:30. We'll open up this utility board workshop. And I would like to recognize visitors we have with us, if we do, and anybody that might be online. We certainly appreciate you being with us. And if you're online and you have something you'd like to address the board about, we can arrange that also. If not, does anybody in the audience have anything to address the board about? Okay, thank you. Let me read this statement first about our electronic meeting. To ensure government operations continue to function openly and transparently during the COVID-19 emergency while taking measures to protect the health and safety of citizens and government officials, Governor Bill Lee issued Executive Order Number 16 on March 20, allowing governing bodies to conduct essential business by electronic means. A link to the electronic meeting access and information is available online at www.loudonutilities.org. Thank you. And if I may, as most of you guys know sitting here, we lost a friend, here a couple of weeks ago. Bill Williams passed away. He was a 35-year man with the LUB. Like so many others during that era, he comes in as a meter reader and then works his way up to a service coordinator, a new service coordinator, and he always done well. He done real well. But like I said, a dear friend, been retired. I don't know how long he's been retired. I know, 3 or 4 years anyhow. But anyhow, he went on to be with the Lord a couple of weeks ago. And if we can, I'd like to, everybody just bow your heads and let's take a moment of silence to remember his wife and the rest of that family. And I'm sure that we've all got a lot of memories running through our minds when we think about Bill Williams, So if you would, bow your heads, please. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. The first thing on the agenda today would be our safety report.
Mr. Chairman, Director Jason Brown is going to come forward and provide us our safety report. In addition, he's going to brief you on some current job openings inside the utility, and last but not least, a current report on the COVID status of our employees.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm happy to report there was 0 safety violations or incidents for the month of June. That's a true testament to our men and women at work. They take safety very serious, and I think we're seeing that in our numbers. Just thank you all for your continued support in our safety programs. Job posting updates. I just passed out a piece of paper documenting some of the changes, and we'll just go through those. We're able to fill the chief operator water treatment plant position. That's filled on July the 6th by Chris Dotson, a 14-year employee. With an extensive interview process with Director of Gas, Water, and Sewer, John Davis, and Ed Adamo. So, I think there are some big shoes to fill as quick as possible, but Chris has been the job. We posted that position that has been vacated by Chris. And we'll start those interviews after July the 20th. Let it run to 10 working days. Everybody get the resumes in. I think as of today, I have about 17 resumes for that position. Third item, Mike Evans, longtime employee, I think 43 years of service. He retired on July the 7th. And his position has been filled by Cody Watkins. This is, remember, back during the AMI reorganization, we had some meter readers that went to the line crew. We had a meter reader that went to the water sewer, and he went to the water treatment plant. So we kind of anticipated a retirement in the next 6 months to a year.
Is this the last one to
Yes, sir.
complete that block of folks
Yes, sir.
who were trying to reorganize?
That is correct.
Everybody seemed to be doing good with us doing this, and the positions are filling.
Yes.
Good deal.
Everybody's doing really well. And item number 4 is your that newly created position that you approved for on 1 July as the field supervisor position for the electric department. That will come off the board on July 15th. We'll schedule interviews after that day.
How many of you had applied for that?
1 4.
We thank you.
Anything else? COVID update. We were looking about today that we've had 1 employee test positive. Allowed 2 employees test positive. And the members or the other employees that have worked around this employee for the past week were sent to be tested today.
So will we send those folks to self-quarantine until the...
No, we've got the new guidelines from the state, basically saying that we fall under this called critical infrastructure workers guidance. That's from the Tennessee Department of Health. And basically, if you're not showing any symptoms, we've asked them to be tested and wear masks and to monitor, their work. Obviously, if these 2 guys have worked together, they're going to stay together. We're not going to put them in with the other crews to work.
Just have to be smart with it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the Teleco Village water contract.
Yes, we had a couple of really good meetings, one with TVPOA, another separate amongst ourselves to deal with some TVPOA requests. It was a healthy collaborative, and I think the breakthrough from that collaborative was the realization that what TVPOA would like for us to deliver to them is not a standard service, but a premium service. And what we are negotiating now is the price point for that premium service. And Attorney Fry has been in talks with TVPOA representation. And what he will like to discuss with you today are the open items that still remain inside the agreement.
Thank you, Manager Ross. So in front of you, you have the latest proposed version. So
the language that's in here has not been accepted by them at this point. They've proposed some language. We've proposed some language. They last met on July 8th. We have not got any feedback from their last board meeting. That was just a workshop. I expect we'll hear something after their formal meeting coming up next week. But basically what it comes down to is sections 4 and 5 are those are really the sticking points. Basically, it's what is the penalty if we don't complete these improvements and upgrades to the system by July 1, 2022. Now, we've worked with our engineers and with our staff, and we feel very comfortable that we can complete these upgrades by that date. so the penalty would never go into effect. But just to protect us, we're currently negotiating over what, if any, adjustment in the rate there would be if we are unable to deliver on the improvements that are identified in Exhibit A and Exhibit B. So in Exhibit A, you see the improvements that were already contained in the CIP that this board has approved. Exhibit B, this is the first time you are being presented with these improvements. These are the premium upgrades that the collaboration of Teleco Village engineers and LUB engineers identified that would need to be added to the system in order to deliver the water at the 1095 HGL that they are requiring us to deliver 24/7, 365 days a year for the next 20 years. And so this was based on modeling assumptions about future growth in the village and assumptions based on how our system is currently constructed and how it can be constructed better to serve those 4 main delivery points. And in exchange for these premium improvements that are outside the CIP, we were able to work with Jackson Thornton to calculate exactly what impact to the rate that is. And that is now going to be built into the rate that that this board has already approved, that was to be effective July 1. So right now, like I said, 4 and 5, those are the main sticking points. Basically what it says is if we don't deliver 1095, then they would get some break on their rate.
Is that after 2022 or is that, okay?
It's after 2022 because we're saying up front, we can't deliver 1095 all day, every day as the system is currently constructed. So if we do these things, then we feel that we can hit that, and we can hit it the vast majority of the time, but we don't want to promise something that we don't know we can deliver all the time.
I agree with that. So what's the penalty we're looking at? The penalizer stuff.
So the penalty would be in line with what that premium effect on the rate is. So the base rate would stay the same, but they would basically, the premium would come off because that's why they're paying the premium, is to get that 1095.
Right.
And so, go ahead.
Yeah, Chris is exactly right. And what we're separated on now is they want accountability built into this agreement, and we're fine with accountability. But a penalty should not be draconian as such, where they get off lightly and not have to pay for any service. Standard service, standard service, standard service, and we have absolutely no problem delivering that. What we want to tie the penalty to is to this premium service, this premium add-on that we're negotiating through these additional construction improvements.
What's the likelihood, though, they're going to accept a premium negotiation if they're basing it on the base rate? They want a penalty on the base rate, is what I thought I heard you say in the beginning.
Well, yeah, it was, and that's something that we've now countered.
I understand.
Right.
I'm saying, what's the likelihood they'll agree to the premium rate? Because here's the problem I see, if you don't get that, and you base it on your base rates, have you calculated into the factors of impact that's going to have on your budget? Can you afford it? I mean, right. All that needs to be evaluated on what even percentage. If you say, okay, we can afford a 0.5% if we, and that way we won't exceed our budget year for the coming year, even if we do not produce what they're expecting. Right. So, I mean, you'll find the number on what the number is. I'm just giving an example. Well, that's my concern, is if that premium without that, I'm concerned that, negotiations on the other side, why it's what the penalty would be on the base rate.
Right, so the initial feedback we've gotten is that they want to pay the premium to get this premium level of service. And so the penalty would only be on a monthly basis. So it wouldn't be for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Based on our modeling, we are completely safe 10 out of 12 months of the year. And
Was that good enough? Is that good enough, 10 out of 12 months of the year?
well, that's even with that's without these
No, I mean,
improvements. Once these improvements are in place, then
And that's yet to be seen, of course.
Right.
That's a hypothetical at this moment. So that's, again, negotiating on something that we're not even sure about, if we'll meet it or not, and if we don't. If they don't agree to the premium, then we'll be back to the base rate.
It's all coming to us from an engineering study, They say if we
Well, I understand.
put these extra pumps in, then we'll meet that 1095 all the time.
That's a hypothetical.
Yeah, we don't know whether we can or not, but technology says we can. You know how that is.
I love technology.
But, well, I do too, but
and that's even projecting several thousand more customers.
Ty, how long will it take us within paying this premium rate to make our money back, bring our money back into what we're putting into this extra infrastructure with this premium rate?
The additional infrastructure is approximately 1.8 million, and the rate is tied to the amount of debt service that would be required to fund the improvements. It's about 20 years.
That's the life of the contract.
The life of the infrastructure in general, as well as the contract.
when are they going, when they pay, are they going to be paying a higher percentage per cost per study than what, say, the city of Loudon will be?
There is a large difference between the rate structure you approved based on the cost of service study and what we're talking about now.
That's what we need to hear.
What we're talking about now is an additional percentage rate on top of what you've already approved. Approximately, it's in the range of 45 cents.
Yeah.
So this is completely different from the 85% that we've been talking about. From the 85% is the rate. Now this is going to be a premium add-on that they'll be paying for out into the future. So even if we go to 90% or 95% recovery, that doesn't affect this. We're still treating them. The base rate will be influenced by future cost of service.
Well, Chris, at one time, we were talking, and we said, or their request was that theirs percentage would be the same as ours.
Right.
In other words, theirs would never be any higher than ours. But now, is this going to affect that?
Yeah, that's still an element of this contract. I think it's in section 2. It says that the cost of service, based on any future rate increases from a future cost of service study, will be allocated to attain a percentage of recovery equal to the recovery for residential and site customers. So that is still a part of this contract. That's what I'm saying. This premium is completely outside of that structure.
Okay, so it won't affect it.
Yeah, and so we've talked about just making that, it's in here, it lays that out between Exhibit A and Exhibit B, but we could probably make that clearer here in Section 2 that this is the cost of service rate, this is the premium improvement rate.
Well, because on the front of the contract, it just says right here that, just exactly what he just said, that it will not be any more than for here in the city of Loudon, so that would contradict us collecting that premium rate.
But
from them.
the infrastructure is solely attributed to them. So the cost of service study captures that infrastructure and attributes it solely to them. So that's why they're capturing all the cost.
Sure, but we would just need to, I would think we would need to change how we've got this worded on the front of the contract though, because the way it's worded right here, it would, to me, that right there says that they're not going to have to pay that if they wanted to get it.
Included in the contract will be line items and exhibits displaying the rate that's been backed by Jackson Thornton to cover the cost.
How is this going to, is the folks that, our customers, ratepayers that are in that community out there, are they going to see any advantage to these upgrades that we're sending out there in that area? Will that be any benefit to those folks in that community?
Yes, and that's exactly why they requested it.
No, I'm talking about not in Teleco Village. With this, putting all this new infrastructure in, are the folks that are out there in that community in Pawnee?
Very, very little, if any. This infrastructure is located at the injection points into the village.
Okay. I know where they are. I read the meters on them.
Well, that's one reason why you can charge them for every bit of that.
Yeah. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to get that clear.
Yeah.
So.
So let me be clear, we're doing studies to confirm this premium category that we're looking at putting in. We're doing studies to confirm that them will hit 100% of the time.
Even with 20 years of projected growth.
But we've actually.
So statistically, you'll become sound if you can give me a 95% confidence level standing. I'll feel good about it if you can get 95% on your statistical data that says you'll meet those if you do A, B, C, D. I mean, that's what I'm saying. We should not enter into any statement of agreement with anything if we don't have at least a 95% confidence level through our studies that we're going to meet that amount of projections.
Right. I'm not sure what the threshold was, but I'll check with our engineers.
It should be 95 plus.
But we're also, total improvements to do this contract is we're spending around $3.3 million.
Right.
Is that on the sticking points they are?
Those are the main ones, yeah.
How are you looking at that penalty?
Well, the first thing I did was go to Ty and have him confirm with our engineers that we can hit these dates. I thought the date was the main thing.
If we don't think we'll get it done until October, or we don't think we'll get it done until December, then they're flexible on that. But we're confident we can hit these deadlines, so those penalties will never happen unless, we don't construct the improvements. And if we don't construct the improvements, then we can't justify the rate. So
you don't build any variables in it? Because, nobody never knows what's going to happen, just like we've been through this virus and still going through it right now, that has crippled a lot of organizations. And who knows what it would do out here on a construction job as big as what we're talking about here. So we need, just because we can't meet the date, there ought to be some reasons given that, hey, if some of these things take place, then that's not our fault. Don't hold us responsible for that.
Well,
You'll get into predictability, and the problem with predictability is you don't know. Your little ball doesn't tell tell you what the future is. We can predict so far, but
Well, there is a force majeure provision in here, but that basically would void the entire contract, and then we'd be right back where we are today, trying to negotiate a new contract. So,
I think that's your key right there, as long as you've got an out, because I think Pino's getting that.
right.
As long as you've got the main out that has to says, if this and this doesn't happen, then we're back to square one.
Yeah, it's just like this contract never happened. Neither party is liable to the other for any consequential damages. It's just we would have to go back to square one on negotiating a new rate.
So this new rate is going to accommodate bringing them back up to par where they need to be on the 85%.
Right.
Okay, so we're not going backwards on making water anymore.
Right.
Okay, and then is that 1.5 included in that? The first one, the first 1.5 of this 3.3?
Right, so the 1.5 took them, at 85%, they would be at $2.17. So this 1.8 takes them to 262.
Okay, I guess I'm just trying to think of, where do we need to be at selling them water to just get us back to where, without doing any other improvements, to be where we're back where we need to be as far as them just being a wholesale customer of ours without us spending any extra money?
Well, arguably there's a contract or an agreement to deliver a certain amount of water until 2024. We have run the numbers on not having TVPOA as a customer. Thanks to your capital infusion in the water department of $10 million, we would indeed be able to survive, not necessarily thrive, but we will be just fine without TVPOA as a customer. It will impact the other rate classes, especially our large industrials, but the impact to city residents, you're looking at probably $2 extra in the customer charge.
Well, no, I mean, I just want to look to see, to get them back to where they need to be, just to be at the 85%, without us putting all this extra money on it, because we've got other wholesale customers that we sell wholesale water to that they distribute to other people as well.
Yeah.
So we're not pumping the same amount of money into those folks. And so I'm just trying to see, I'm trying to figure out what the numbers are on, is this 1.5 factored into that 85% or?
This is the trade-off to get them to come to the table before August of 2024. So, that's why these improvements are in here. These are the improvements that justify this rate.
So we got to spend $1.5 million to.
Well, you spend some, but it's almost your sacrificial lamb to get this negotiation established.
We're not going to get that back, is what I'm going at. Yeah. But that's what I was just getting at. We're not going to get the 1.5 back.
Yeah.
The 1.8's factored in to get back, but the 1.5's not.
No, we get the 1.5 back as well. That's all within the cost of service study. That 1.5, 99% of it, 97% of it was allocated to the TVPOA rate class. Is that right?
The best example to look at is on Exhibit B at the very bottom. There's 3 columns that has the base rate. In that base rate, that goes to $2.17. It's on the very last page. That $2.17 is the 85% that we've talked about forever. And the $1.5 million investment is factored into that for Loudon Utilities to recapture the cost of that $1.5 million investment. Now, the additional 1.8 million in improvements is projected to cost $150,000 a year for 20 years. And that's where the 45-cent premium came from. So you were correct earlier in clarifying the rate, because the 1.5 million, we're going to 85%. That's all we've factored so far. And the additional 1.8, we are looking to recapture 100% of those improvements. And that's how it's structured.
Yeah, that's what I said. Now, we've got to spend 1.5 to get them up to the 85% of what they need to be paying.
And what you need to be assured of is that 1.5 has been attributed to them inside their rate.
Yeah, but we're having to spend $1.5 million to get them where they need to be, is what I'm trying to get at. We're having to spend $1.5 million to get them where they should be paying. So we're paying for the catch-up.
That's one way of looking at it.
We're always trying to say, well, we're going a different way.
Yeah, that's just what I was trying to get across to see.
It will come back to you at some point through the rate.
So are they catching up? We're spending it to collect it back.
Spend up front, get it established and going, but it'll come back to you through the rate charges.
Right. Over the life of the contract, we should recover 85% of all of our costs attributed to TVPOA to sell them water. Now, that might go up.
Are they actually are they actually catching up then?
No,
where everybody else is at?
Yeah, they're coming up to 85% over the next 3 years instead of staying at 44% or wherever they are until August of 2024.
And the factors of unknown, as Ty said, to maintain him as a customer, that's what you do. Sometimes you sacrifice some of your...
I get it. I was just trying to figure, That's business.
Like I said, we run the numbers, we can turn off the faucet, so to speak, but that's never our intent, because we have always, and since in our talks for the past 18 months, we've carried into those talks a bias towards service.
So Chris, how long will it be before the premium will be, we know that's a path we're going to be able to obtain with the contract? You said that's kind of the sticking point now.
Well, no, we are operating under the assumption that they want the premium. That's what we've been told, is they want the premium. So now it's just a function of getting all of this in place and deciding what's going to be the fallout for failing to deliver what we've promised.
Which in that negotiation is only about the premium side, not the base rate.
Right. So that's our position, that there's not going to be any penalty on the base service. It's the same service that everyone else gets.
Everything going good, everything going right? Are they in agreement with this rate, base rate for each one of those years, 21, 22, and 23?
Yeah, the base rate we've talked about ad nauseum. So there's not really, we can't really argue with Jackson Thornton's numbers. I mean, they are what they are.
Keep us informed.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of accounts to be written off.
Yes, each year there are debits and credits that must be accounted for in order to close the books on the previous fiscal year and prepare for our annual audit. As a part of that, we've submitting items to you. They're unpaid bills that we consider uncollectible, and summarized on your screen. And maybe if we can rearrange the Zoom here, you can see all the numbers. There you go. And it looks a little better than last year. You see year-end 2019, I think, which is encouraging. These are encouraging numbers despite COVID. So things are going well inside your district, or things are going better in terms of bill collection.
Well, if you factor in lost water and stuff like that, the AMI ought to affect it for next year too, shouldn't it?
Yeah, you're reaping the benefits of your AMI system in these numbers as well. It's a workshop, and it's just a matter of information at this point.
Well, thank you. Surplus truck.
Yeah, we did take delivery of one of the new CMAQ grant-funded bucket trucks. You can see a pretty picture of it there. In order to comply with the grant, we will have to destroy the engine block in the old truck, and that's why we have before you a request for declaration of surplus of that 2006 International 4300 bucket truck.
How we destroying that block? What are we doing to it? We know?
They pour a seize, something that seizes the motor up into the motor.
They talked about busting them at one time.
I think they just they've got something they pour in there that just seizes the motor up.
There is a process. Yeah. I'm the guy that just knows how to put gas in the truck. I don't destroy the engine block.
No changing the brakes for you.
No.
Well, I've heard Jim Key talk about it before, and I know at one time he had some method he's going to bust it, so I don't know if that's still on or not. You've been hearing something different?
I thought there was just something they poured in the motor that seized it up.
I don't know. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the financial reports for May.
Yes, our finance director, Nicole Curtis, will have a summary by summary of each department for the month of May.
Hello. The May financial reports were emailed just before the meeting today, so I know you haven't had a chance to dig into those. I want to go over some of the highlights. First up, we'll go to the electric department. And for the year to date, with net revenues of $1,365,000, we are well ahead of what was initially budgeted. I do want to make you aware that $700,000 of that came directly from the 20-year TVA long-term partnership agreement that was signed last September. And because we executed it so early, we got additional months on that. But that has been $700,000 directly to the bottom line in the electric department. I want to also point out how important it is for us to maintain or stay in that area. Last month you approved or were presented with a 5-year plan, capital outlay plan for the electric department, and there are some significant improvements to be made in the next 5 years. Net revenues of $1 million are needed for us to fund those improvements. If we maintain that, there's a possibility we will not have to issue debt. We could pay for those improvements out of cash. But that's great news for the electric department and very encouraging, and great job to that department as a whole. Going next to the gas department.
I've got one right there we've got almost a $3.2 million variance from one year to the other on the electric.
On the total revenues?
Yeah, no, on the expenditures, where we've saved.
Look up at the wholesale cost.
Is it the wholesale cost?
It's the wholesale cost.
That's what I was.
If you look at the total revenues, they went from 45 million to 43, and then you look below that, our wholesale cost, which is what we pay to TVA, dropped right again. And that just lets you know that we're managing about this much margin in the electric department, just a tiny amount of margin.
That's awesome that we did that.
The partnership agreement really benefited us because it meant rate stability for all of our customers. That was a great move. On the gas department, what jumped out at me when I was putting the summary together was our revenues were up for the month of May, and this was actually in residential sales, which I did not foresee that happening, but it was good news for the gas department. Also, another reason the revenues are up is we received $76,000 in our MEAC refund. That's a once a year. That's where we have the prepaid gas agreement. And operating costs are down in this department, which is great news as well. All in all, it ends up to a better bottom line. Any questions on the gas department? Okay. Next up, we have the water department. Year-to-date revenues here are up $328,000. When you look at the individual items on the income statement, it's across all classes. There's just been a higher amount of water consumption this year, so we have additional revenues there. The net revenues, so far this year, we are at $1,020,557 in net revenues. I expect that will increase again for the month of June. That is up $222,000 from last year, the same month last year. The operating costs are down, so again, that's another great item for our management team. The depreciation costs are up, so that's why whenever you look at the total expenditures, there is an increase, but that's because the depreciation interest costs are up over last year in the water department. Is there anything else I can address there? Okay. Wastewater, and Greg is moving the keyboard for me. So sewer department, year-to-date revenue is up, which follows after the water department. That would correlate. Again, it's with all classes. Operating costs in the sewer department are up slightly at 1.5% over last year. We've talked about some of those costs through the year that could contribute to that. All in all, it is ahead with net revenues of $1,393,000. It is ahead of our budget, which was $1,253,000, and that is good news. So, if there are any questions, I'm happy to take those. I emailed you the full 24 pages of the financial reports. If anything jumps out at you, feel free to reach out between now and the meeting, and I will be glad to answer any questions. Otherwise, that's all I have.
Cole, you used to do or had started doing a cost trend chart by month?
Yes.
For each category. Could we get that written out?
We can. We went back and forth on, did you want to see the revenues charted or the operating costs?
Operating costs.
Operating costs.
That's what we started doing at one point there.
I'll include that. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Next item on the agenda is natural gas rates.
Okay, included in your packet is what you always receive, which is the gas rate computation chart. There's about 7 factors that go into it. What we're doing this month is we're putting forward with you, at least temporarily, we'll see how far it goes, an additional charge, and that is due to a rate action of Enbridge. The East Tennessee Natural Gas LLC, aka Enbridge, controls the natural gas pipeline that supplies our region. Enbridge charges users downstream for this use of the line. Think of it like a tariff. Another way to look at it is what a ferry boat charges to cross the river. I especially like that analogy here in Loudon. The tariff that Enbridge charges has remained constant for many years, 20 plus years. On June 30th, 2020, Enbridge filed a rate case to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC, that its tariff did not cover the necessary expense of repairing and maintaining its natural gas transmission service. This is not unlike the cost of service study you performed for your water department. What we'd like to do now, and here's the chart, if you'll look to your screen, it'll be easy to see, is to just summarize the impact of this rate case. And it's about $550,000 annually in additional tariff fees for us per year. And what we've done is we've spread that out amongst our service classes in the gas department, and we've factored in an additional cost of gas. And that impact, as far as rate per 100 cubic feet, whereas last month you approved a gas rate of 97 cents per 100 cubic feet, this month it jumps to $1.04. And that's due entirely to that new Enbridge cost.
Do I have any questions for Manager Ross about this? Pretty well self-explanatory, I guess.
There's a full copy of the Enbridge rate action. We've linked it in your agenda that was emailed to you. It's 1,200 pages long. Feel free to peruse that at your leisure.
Thank you, Todd. Now that takes us to other, and I see one on there already about fireworks, so.
Yeah, I'd like to recognize Loudon Parks and Rec Director Mark Harrell. We wanted to take advantage of this meeting and the fact that Chip Lynn's covering it on the website, and of course millions of people are watching online via Zoom. But we wanted to better announce. You know, it's been up in the air, since COVID started, when we were going to, or whether or not do certain public events. But Mark would like to make an announcement regarding Riverfest.
I think it's a good analogy, up in the air. We wanted to put some fireworks up in the air and get them off the ground. We didn't have cancel the 4th of July, as most of you know, and we had a few people that were sad that we did that. But we felt like we want to go ahead with the Riverfest event. It's our 10th year of doing Riverfest. Riverfest was created when the 4th of July was canceled 10 years ago, and we had firework money that we had spent, and we decided to do an event downtown. We think that it draws anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 people from surrounding areas. Not sure how many people it would draw this year with the COVID-19, but we're getting a lot of anxious people. So it may change up a little bit. We may change it. We have decreased the amount of vendors that we're going to allow, so the attendance may get down a little bit. But I think the surrounding area is ready. They're ready to welcome everybody out in their neighborhoods to watch the fireworks. The numbers could be anywhere from 7,000 to 10,000. We don't know because they're all over crawling all over the hillside there. So we appreciate the support from Loudon Utilities for the last 10 years, and we look forward to the partnership for the next 10 years. And a couple of things we did talk about was maybe increasing the size of the show, increasing the amount of time that we project the rockets into the air. And we decided that 18 to 20 minutes was probably long enough to sit there and watch fireworks. That's about how long our show is. It's a very consistent show for those of you that haven't seen it. It's not just one that goes up and then you wait for another to go up. We use a little different class of fireworks that are a little less expensive than a lot of people in our neighboring communities do. But there is a huge show, just boom, 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 one right after another. So appreciate the support, and see you in a couple of weeks, and hopefully we get this put on the agenda.
We've always been happy to support you on this.
Thanks.
Well, now, Mark, are we having this hot dog eating contest again this year?
A lot of things have been put on hold, and I hate to tell you, Bart, but I don't think we're going to be able to do the hot dog eating contest.
That's all right with me.
we probably will not be doing canine demonstration. Several of the things we've done in the past we'll not do this year. But that's been a tough one because I really like to watch the hot dog eating contest. And I think the people do too.
Well, no, I was just going to recruit Ty on our team this year.
Yeah, well, I already got it.
You already got him signed up?
Yeah, he's gonna eat from me.
Oh, well, I say let's go.
Why don't we just let Ty see how much he can eat for the city and utilities both, and we can take wagers on that.
I see that,
Guess I'm just a glutton for punishment.
I just say we go on and have this then.
I think so.
I'm ready to get that plaque back on there.
We can talk about that in 2 weeks. Thanks.
Yeah, think about it.
You reckon was said this
He
year.
can't represent that one.
75 was said this year, you reckon?
Oh, no, I don't know how many. No, I'm not going for a record.
Thank you, Mark. All right, Manager Ross, do you have anything else for us?
Yes, included in other, as was emailed to you, is a request for an assessment of the Pawnee water treatment plant. This would be as to the conditions and alternatives for its future operation. This assessment would include constraints related to regulatory, budget, and constructability. It would also include identification and evaluation of alternatives with an opinion as to probable cost. And last but not least, there would be a professional recommendation provided by an outside engineering firm going forward. And Mr. Larry Joe Dockery, an engineer in our gas, water, and sewer department, is prepared to come forward and provide the justification for this outside assessment, as well as answer any questions you may have.
All right. Come on down.
Hey, good afternoon. Hello. Our water treatment plant at Pawnee, you guys could write the book. I could maybe write the brochure, from my short time here. But this assessment, think of it as a kind of a fast-track master plan for the water plant as a whole. We've spent a lot of money over the years, and we wanted to keep our alternative water source reliable, clean, regulated, et cetera. We've done a great job of that. But we're at that balance point where we should probably get some opinions, get an assessment, just like Manager Ross read there, and I think this would be well worth the time and effort going forward.
Anybody have any questions for Larry Joe?
So do we just not have the technical capabilities of doing our own assessment in-house?
When you deal with water treatment plants in general, there's a specialty niche to it, and the folks we've asked to provide a scope of services is well within their wheelhouse to it was almost a good slip well. But yeah, they've got several other municipalities and local and all over East Tennessee that they've worked for, and a good history of providing assessments such as this.
So their qualifications, we would agree would be excellent, but in-house, we're not qualified to do it. That's what my question comes with.
Yeah, it's a matter of bandwidth with other things. When you look at the overall flow output, versus our main water plant versus this one, it's like David and Goliath. It really is. So it's David's real important, as we all know. So that we don't want to take David for granted. So.
Did I see in here where it was going to cost $10,000 to do the study?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that study's about the CTI firm, and if it suits the board, we would bring that order for work to your regular meeting, in the form of a contractual agreement.
All right, well, we have time. We'll be able to read all this, and go over it, and study it. So just bring it back at the next meeting. Thank you, Larry John.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Manager Ross, you have anything else for us?
I think that covers all of other, so we're good. I think we had a good informative workshop, still work left to be done. You didn't want to be the last to hear about things, especially regarding things over at the village. That's why we're keeping you in the loop during the process. We don't know any other way to do it.
Artie, do you have anything for us?
No thing.
Tim?
I do not.
Gene?
I just have one question. We have established a cost study on the water department. Still comfortable with that now? What about the other three departments, gas, sewer, and electrical? What are those cost studies there?
We would like to do those as well. I think the rate action by Enbridge is a fine impetus, to reevaluate our gas rate computation structure. In truth, this computation page hasn't been updated in many years, and whether it's right and proper to carry this forward many years in the future, we probably need an outside eye looking at it.
Yeah. I'm just thinking that most cost studies, the X factors are the same in a lot of cases. It depends on the comfortable level with the one we have, of course, how much of that could carry over to the other three areas. But I'm convinced that we need to do that. Get that on our agenda. I know we had it on our strategic plan in the future.
Yes, sir.
Mark, you have anything?
Don't have anything.
Well, I've got one. I'd like for us to be able to clear this off the books one way or other this month. And that's, y'all know and y'all remember that several months ago, we were in the process of developing a contract between LUB and, of course, Manager Ross. And through, I don't remember if we had 3 drafts or just the 2. I can remember 2 for sure. Might have been 3, but through all those drafts, if y'all remember, we discuss it, then we get back with Attorney Fry. And we come back, discuss it, we get back with Attorney Fry. That went on and on and on and on. And due to all the goings and the comings and the writings and our ideas that we were sharing with the attorney, he and I, the last time we talked about this, we felt like we should go with a policy in the department between whoever the manager is. Not necessarily Manager Ross. Somewhere down the line, if we do this, somewhere down the line, we'll have this policy in place, and it will apply to whoever the manager might be, regardless. And most of us decided through our talks with attorney that we had too much verbiage in here, way too much verbiage. So that's where the policy idea came to be. And so the last time that I talked with Attorney Fry, we decided, or we would like to make the proposal that we take paragraphs 11, paragraphs 12, and paragraphs 13, which is termination, severance, and resignation. Take those 3 paragraphs and develop a policy. And if that's what, we're not trying to take votes or nothing like that, but if everybody's in agreement with that, then I'll have I'll have Attorney Fry to write that up and send everybody out a copy of it. And we'll be able to look at it and read it. And of course, you can still read it if you've got that draft right there. But you'd be able to read it, and then when we come together in 2 weeks, then, we'll either vote on it, vote it down, don't do it, don't do nothing, whatever we decide we want to do. But rather than go with all this verbiage in a contract, it looks like it would be better to take these point blank paragraphs and make a policy and go with that, rather than try to us make a contract with him or make a contract with anybody else, We just make a contract, or we'll make a policy and put it out there, put it in place, and whoever's sitting in that chair, that's what we go by. Anybody got any ideas or discussions? But I would like to see us put this to bed this month.
I say write it up, let us all take a look at it. We'll discuss it next meeting, and we'll do what you say. It's accept it, decline it, table it, we'll do something.
Is that okay with everybody?
Sounds great to me. I was, for lack of a better term, pretty agreeable to the last contract draft. But since you brought it out as a policy and picked those 3 items, which are the nuts and the bolts of the contract, I like the idea, especially getting it wrapped up.
Yeah, well, when you get your draft, the last draft you've got, if you still got it, or look on the computer and pull it up, you'll see that those 3 paragraphs are the meat of all of this. And that's what everybody was wanting. That's what everybody was shooting for. Well, I won't go there. I'll let that lay. But that's what we're doing. Attorney Fry, can you handle that for us like that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I sure can. I actually had a draft that I left on my printer at the office when I walked out at 4:10, so I'll get that out to you.
Okay, I appreciate it. Now, has anybody else got anything they'd like to add before we go?
I do have one thing.
Okay.
Now, here back several months ago, we talked about broadband. And I think this utility board talked about it several years back even. I'd like for us to take a good hard look at that. Because here we are in this world we're in, and our children going to school here and everywhere, that they're going to have to do some kind of virtual schooling.
Yeah.
Some of them may not. But I think it's something that our utilities could offer our citizens and another directed service. I just think we need to take a good hard look at it.
Can I bring us the information that you have on broadband at our next meeting, if you would? I know that we've talked about this and we've done some things and we've looked at some prices, some figures, some facts and things, and like Tim said, this has all been going on for a long time, even before your time. And so anything you could bring and share with us at our regular meeting, that'd be appreciated.
Well, there's folks that will come in and lease if we don't want to do it, they will lease the fiber. And then they'll pay us to lease the fiber and run it themselves and put broadband in the communities.
Yeah.
So, remember, it's the folks, Ty and I watched went to a presentation that these folks put on, and
that's right. I remember
if we're not in the mindset of wanting to delve off into it, then that. I think the times before that we talked about it, they've talked about, well, Amazon's going to put satellites up, putting it down. And I'll just be honest with you, though, I have mixed feelings about that because at my office, we're a wireless office, and every computer runs on Wi-Fi. And we go through a daily struggle trying to keep those computers running on Wi-Fi wireless. And so about 3 weeks ago, I climbed up in the attic and I just went ahead and I hooked mine back up. So I believe there's going to be complications with doing all that. And if we don't want to do it, I say we let somebody come in here and rent the fiber and provide these services for the community. So.
Can you help us do something? Because out in our community, the lots out here, right here in the city, you're okay. But out in our countryside and that, in our district out here, they don't have it. They have no service.
What do you think, Ty?
Well, the key concept we have to get our heads around is the take rate. What would the take rate be for us or a renter of whatever infrastructure we would hang? And that's the cost benefit, that's the risk reward analysis. Traditionally, this is done by an outside party, a consultant who conducts a feasibility study. And what I'd like to do is bring to you a draft RFP for that type of evaluation that would contain the sticking points for the key deliverables, which would be, an estimated measurement of what type of internet transmission we could carry, along with possible a recognition of the existing competition, and then an estimate of what our take rate could be.
And this would all come off the electric department, the funds for it.
No, it could actually be, you could have a mixture. Different communities approach it in different ways. Now, TVA limits the amount of funding that you can actually provide from the electric department because TVA regulates electricity. But there are other funding sources out there via grants, the utility in general, via debt, via municipal debt.
Yeah. I just thought since they own the fiber, then, because doesn't the electric department, isn't that where we run the fiber from?
Yeah, we have internal dark fiber that we use to monitor and maintain our electric distribution system as well as the metering.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was. Cool. Sounds good to me.
Anybody else? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Hey.
This video presentation is made possible by Brewster Services Group.